This is the Here For You podcast. I'm Matt Timler.
And I'm Zach Phillips.
Today we're going to talk about Zach's journey in the IT department internal to PLB, as well as just really cool things that this kid does, or this gentleman does. So
I'm a kid at heart. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's going to see that in the
unfortunately.
Right now.
Sorry in advance, Mom.
So you're in IT right now. How did your journey start?
So that's kind of like, to make a long story short, right? So I was in the service from 17 to 21, right? And I was a radio operator. So my whole thing was like getting out. I was like, well, I got to find something that's like similar to what I do, right? Like I didn't just get these skills for like no reason, even though like I say 98% of the people I serve with, they all got out and did absolutely nothing with anything we used to do. But I figured I'd find something kind of similar in a sense, which like IT, if you like fundamentally, it has things that are similar, like theories of like radio waves and all that good stuff. But it's not like, it doesn't encompass a lot of it. It's just a small portion. So I forget who it was, but somebody put me on the path of like looking into like doing like satellite installs on like homes and stuff, which are pretty obsolete nowadays. Nobody really gets dishes on their homes. So then that turned into, it was like, okay, I'll try that out. And I was like, oh, well, that's not really much of a thing anymore. And I was like, okay, so I'll try out like doing like internet installs. And then I was like, I don't really want to go install internet in people's homes. And so I knew I wanted to go back to school, and I had to find a program that like fit me, and I didn't know what to do. And at that time I went through the list of like all the different things, and it originally was computer science, but then I saw you had to do calculus in computer science, and I was like, no, that's not going to happen. Not for me. And then I found information science with an emphasis on information technology. And then from there, I just made the decision. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And then when I got into it, I was like, oh, there's actually some cool stuff that like goes on. So
yeah.
That's kind of how we got here. Is like a series of decisions, and then I was like, well, it's too late to go back now. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time I've heard your entire journey. I just met you when you worked at Menards, and
So, and for anybody that doesn't know our working relationship, so his wife is best friends with my now fiance, and so we go to dinner all the time, and I'd have to see this guy like here and there all the time, and like hear about his business. Everything's going well, and I'm over here like stacking shelves at Menards and like just kind of getting by while doing college. And the guy asked me 3 times. He's like, "Dude, you want to come work for me?" It's like, I'll make a spot for you. And I was like, "Nah, dude," because I was scared. I was like, I don't know anything, dude. Like I'm barely getting through college. I wasn't barely, like I'm doing good. Like I'm a graduate with honors, but the thing is, I didn't feel like I learned like actual trade skills to like apply. And I was like, I can't walk into a place with no skills and no guidance and then make something of it, right? In my mind, I was like, that's crazy, dude. At least at Menards, someone's telling me how to stock shelves. But then it like was around the 3rd or 4th time, dude, we were out to dinner, and I was like, why not, dude? I'm sick of stocking shelves. This is lame. I was like, I gotta do something eventually. So it was either, take a chance at working with you, or wait until like closer to the end to wait for like an internship. And then I could have ended up at like a manufacturing place in their IT realm. And honestly, I'd probably hate that, because most of those places you get put in a niche, and it's like you're now a help desk. So like go fix a printer, go fix the the desktops, and like that's it. That's all you do. If you want to learn anything new, like good luck. Do it on your own.
Yeah. Well, you're still a help desk.
I still fix printers. Yeah, which is funny because I used to like be really excited about when people have like printer issues or like computer issues. I'd be like, oh, like let's go do it. Like Bob the Builder. Yes, we can. You know what I mean? Like I'd be on it. Nowadays, since I've done it like a few times, like I'll go up to the printer and like I'll pull the tray and I'll slam it shut, and I'm like, yep, fixed, all done. And people were like, dude, how'd you do that? I'm like, it says it on the printer, but keep calling me if you need it, But I don't say those things out loud most times.
Yeah, I was good. Yes, you do.
Okay,
you
sometimes.
Definitely say it out loud sometimes.
Only to the right people, okay? To the right people.
Yeah. I mean, you add a lot of good energy to the office, and I'm super glad you came onto the team.
Some would say otherwise, but yeah. Some days, yeah.
So, I guess, what do you enjoy right now about what you do, and what do you not enjoy at all?
I don't enjoy. Let's start with that, because everyone always has things they can complain about, right? And I'm no different. I always got things. But what I don't enjoy is One, when I get asked things that like really are beyond my scope. So like a lot of people think there's IT handles like a variety of things, and which it does. But if you're not in the niche, then it's not really like, just because you're an IT guy doesn't mean you can design websites and like all this good stuff. Like you're a web developer usually or web support. Um, so when I get asked like I wouldn't call them silly questions because it's not their fault. Like they don't know any better, right? Like they just see an IT guy, but then you take it from that scale and you go to the other end of the spectrum where it's like, hey, how do I make a Google sheet? And I'm just here like you can't be serious right now. I'm really sorry. I just did that this week. So if you're watching this, I'm very sorry. But yeah, when you show them those kind of things and you make like a step by step, for the future, and then they look at it and they're like, oh, like I could have figured that out. I'm like, yeah, you could have. Yeah, you totally could have. I would say, and then those are like, they're not like bad examples. So it's not like those things happen. You're like, oh, dude, my day's ruined. It's just kind of like, you're like, God, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in the middle of, figuring out the rest of what's going on here, but let's do it. Yeah, it's not bad. It's like the hiccups, I guess, of the day. So I'd say that's the worst part is those little things. The best part is in the company that, you have right now is there's a lot of room for like building and improving upon like what we already have.
Yeah.
So when I did an overhaul and I looked at it and figured out like the path that I wanted to go with it, and figuring out the way it aligned with the company, it was really cool because it's like you see all these doors open where it's like, yeah, we have right now just the one guy, right, which is me. When if you want to get into a niche, you can, but then you get into that niche, you just have to remember it goes further than that. So like, for example, my next step is like network administrations, right? So as I get into that, it's like this cool, it's all up and running. What about cybersecurity now, right? So it's like, okay, you've accomplished network administrations. Now you got to go into cybersecurity. And it's like, okay, well, we'll keep working on these things. So we keep moving past it. And I think that's the most exciting part about what it is I do is that I know it's not going to be like, hey, do this every day for the rest of your life and only this thing. It's going to be like a continuous, like, hey, good job at learning this. Like, let's master it and let's keep moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%. That's the entire reason that I wanted to bring you on is because we had no baseline for anything. And it was like doors wide open for you to be, I like this and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And everything else, just like get it off your plate and determine, like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And we're going to sub this out or we're going to hire this out. Or like, I remember when I asked you to redesign the website, you're like, no, like go hire that out right now.
Dude, I did that. So I did that podcast with M2, and he told me that that was a running theme of when I would say no to you. Because I said it a lot, apparently. Like, you wanted the website rebuilt, and I was like, no, I'm not a web developer. You asked me for an application to be built, and I was like, no, I'm not an application developer. And he's like, dude, you tell him no a lot. I'm like, yeah, because I learned the hard way. If you say just yes, like you get in these sticky situations, and then you have to go back, and you're like, hey, man, I'm really sorry, but I'm not equipped to do this. And then it's like, we just invested all this time, effort, and sometimes money into doing it. And then like, if you were just honest straight up, then we could have avoided it all. So that's my motto now is just be honest. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Or if you can do it, just let them know like, hey, next year, I'll probably be able to do it. Just, not right now.
Yeah. You're definitely not a yes man. You're like, nope.
Yeah.
And it's just flat out no.
Yeah.
Like there's no context at all. Sometimes he'll explain why. But like sometimes he has this look where he's like, you already know I don't know how to do that. So why are you in my office asking me to do this right now?
Yeah.
Like we subbed this out 6 months ago. Doesn't mean I can do it now.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say along with that too, I guess this is worse than the little questions. So my answer before about the worst part of the job, my worst feeling at the job is when I have an idea for how to fix something. And it's like, oh, that makes sense in my head. Then I meet with someone like HR and they're like, why don't you just do it this way? And then I sit back and I think about it because I don't like writing ideas off right away. Like I'll hear it out, but I'll think about it and be like, you know what? You're totally right. That doesn't fundamentally make any sense. Like technically this idea makes sense, but like as far as the harmony of the company goes, this makes no sense. You're right. So then it's almost like just makes me feel like, dang, maybe she should be in tech support, not me, bro. Like she really thought that one through in like 2 seconds. And I had all day to think about it. Yeah. But yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Oh,
like,
the more you think about it, the worse that the planning gets. Yeah.
I feel like some of my best ideas are like off the cuff, and anything that I spend like tremendous amount of times being like, this is the way I want this, it gets like shot down right away, or it's like completely absurd is not going to happen. There's
100%.
no way. So
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Yeah. Especially because you do more research and you're like, oh, I can filter this into the plan. It's like, that has nothing to do with this, right?
Yeah.
So
you see, you go off on your side quest and it becomes the whole quest.
And you come back and you're like, yeah, I may not fix the problem, but guess what I learned though?
Yeah.
It's like, I learned we can get into Starlink, bro. And it's like, okay, all right, gotcha. Which, by the way, that was a real thing. You sent me on that whole quest. And then I actually figured out, similar to the military, we did satellite communications. It's very similar to how that worked, except more, I guess, simplified because it's for general users. But
I actually love that dynamic. Like, I'll think of something at like 1 a.m. on a Saturday and I'll be like texting Zach. I'm like, hey, let's like start digging into this. Next thing I know, I got an answer like Monday morning. He's like, yeah, dude, I watched like 6 videos. I've dived down this rabbit hole. I did this LinkedIn learning. He's like, here's your answer. And I'm like, oh, dang, I didn't expect all that.
Yeah, this dude, like, we get excited. Most people get excited when when their boss goes on vacation. When you go on vacation, everyone gets excited except a couple of us in the office because we look at each other. We're like, dude, get ready for like 12 emails before you even get into work, man. Yeah. Look into this, look into that.
Yeah.
It's like, dang.
I'll be sitting there doing like LinkedIn learnings or like research on my vacation because like I just like waking up early and all of a sudden I'm firing off emails.
Yep.
And they'll be like, you're not even supposed to be working, let alone why are you up at 5 a.m. firing emails off?
The wife's asleep. I got to do something.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Yeah.
So like, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years. I kind of know, but I kind of don't know. Right now, I think my goal is to like just really work on my certifications and my skills, and then see how I can apply those to the business. And then hopefully within 5 years, as we keep progressing and building out, like let's say network administration, like let's say I learn it, and similar to how you mentioned in your other podcast about the journeyman, like hopefully I don't just get the certification and like that's it. Hopefully it's like I get it and then I practice and I practice and I practice. But eventually, once we do that and go into cyber, I hope that we can backfill those roles. So I've had conversations with HR with like, here's the key like job titles, the job descriptions, the requirements you want to look for in somebody to carry this out if we were to expand or if I were to, explode or something like randomly. What's that word?
Croak, die.
Yeah, spontaneously combust. Yeah, there it is. But yeah, so if anything happened to me, she now knows like what she's gonna look for, right? But it'd be cool to like backfill that. So like if I focus more into cyber and endpoint protections and just doing general overhaul of training for individuals, that'd be really cool to see that happen. But for it to happen, it has to backfill like the network stuff. I can't just like abandon it all. And within 5 years, I hope I don't have to sit down through another marketing meeting ever again. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I handle a little bit of the marketing as well. I work with Valerie, our social media manager, who does a tremendous deal of work for us because I just have to do like the strategy of like what should we do, and then she actually like executes on all the deliverables, which is sick. But yeah, I'm not a fan of being in marketing because it takes a lot of brain power.
Yeah, way more so than I think you ever gave it credit when I first gave it to you.
Yeah, which is another thing I told you no on. So this guy was like, yeah, you should do our marketing and social media because our COO now, back then was our operations manager. And yeah, she was doing all the social media posting and they're like, you should do it because, you're in IT, you're the technology guy, right? Huge misconception, just because it happens on a computer doesn't make it, an IT problem. But anyway, so I said no, and then we ended up doing it anyways because, as people say, it's what it is.
Well, I gave you an out. I basically said, hey, I know you don't want this right now, but you just need to build a process surrounding it so that it's easier for the next person and just have somebody fill it in.
Yeah, but the problem with it, though, is that there's a lot of process to build around it.
I know there is.
And we keep getting more endeavors. So, like the podcast, for example, which is cool. But, it's just one of those continuous things where it's like, at our size, it is what it is. Like,
yeah, I think more process is changing now than like ever before. It's changing on like the daily.
Yeah.
It's got to be a nightmare for you.
I'll tell you that story where I was panicking because I was in the middle of scanning our network. And then I realized that it's technically not allowed more so legally speaking, unless I have written permission from the company. So I panicked, drew up a written permission, agreement, and then got it over to our COO. I was like, please sign this and don't tell anybody that I was doing this.
You just told everybody now.
Yeah, I know, but we fixed it. The scan, like I didn't complete it until after. So yeah, it's whatever. But yeah.
So do you feel pretty fulfilled in like what you've already done, learned, like experienced in?
No,
Not at all.
Not even close. No.
So
I mean, I think it's cool. Like I've done like some repair stuff, which I never thought I'd do. Like I took apart a few of our laptops and repaired their hard drives and everything, which isn't anything crazy. But that's something that I never thought I would get into doing, even though I still have aspirations of building servers, which is like the complete, like if you think building a laptop or fixing a laptop is the same as building a server, like I don't know what kind of drugs you're on. It's similar, but not that similar.
yeah.
So I don't know why I wouldn't think I would be into that stuff, but I think like the things that come along with it, like it's cool. So like learn even what I am doing with some of the stuff like revamping our network right now, with just simple stuff like segmentation to help traffic flow. It's like that's cool, but there's so much more to go.
Yeah.
What I think is crazy though is when you do meet. So we were at that one job, and I won't name drop anything, but we were with that one IT professional who we didn't want to contact at all while setting up their cameras for them. And then I remember sitting there talking to him, and I was like, dude, you must have went through all this schooling and like had all these certs. He's like, nah, I just been doing this. That's it. I just been doing this for 7 years. Okay. All right. So that's where it's like, to me, it's cool what I'm learning, but the more stuff I get to do with it, that's where it's going to start being more, I guess, satisfactory,
Yeah.
So.
You just made me think of something else that you told me no on. I tried to make you the head of our like low voltage department and like start growing that.
That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. That's another thing that I very much so dislike is like when guys are running wire, like Cat 6, right? For another company, they're like, dude, get Zach to do it. He's the IT guy. And I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong entirely, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that was all a trap. I showed you how to terminate a Cat 5 and run it, and then that door was opened.
Yeah. What you didn't show me is how to put the box in and make it nice and pretty. I mean, you told me, but you didn't show me. So then like me, I'm like jammed in the wall. I'm like, well, it's kind of straight. It's in the office, right? No biggie. Like, and then that stuff started to really bother me. But
yeah. No, it's been a pretty cool journey. Like we went from nothing to like almost any IT question we can ask Zach and he'll like get us an answer, whether he actually knows the answer or not. Like you found the resources, you have the resources like in your network. Like, it's really cool. Like you went from being super skeptical, like you said, that, hey, there's nothing I can provide to you. I don't know why you keep trying to hire me. Like I can't do anything. And I just like had a lot of faith that I didn't think you'd get to where you're at now. Like, let's be honest. I didn't realize how motivated you were. And like the more that I get to know you, the more motivated I see that you are and the more that you accomplish. And it's like, it's super cool. Like I'm super proud of you. And it's been like a crazy ride because like I have watched you hit those waves where you like hated marketing and then you kind of liked the marketing because you like the analytical side of it. And you're like, wow, there is more to this. I thought this was for like just dummies. Like there was nothing to this. And now there's way more to this. And now, okay, now I don't like this anymore. Please get this off of my plate because like, I don't want to manipulate pictures anymore. Like I want to know the algorithms on the backside and like look at the metrics. I don't want anything else.
Yeah. Plus you get free lunch a lot of times when you work with marketing people, they love going out to lunch, dude. I'm telling you.
All the time.
Dude, there was one time we had a partner, we were partnering with a specific organization in Green Bay. And like this dude kept taking me out to lunch. Like every time he wanted to meet, he wanted to go to lunch. And it just got to the point where I was like, dude, I cannot, like everyone's looking at me weird in the office. Like, you're going to lunch again? Like, yeah, I'm going to lunch again. Like, I'll be back.
Does like there's a stigma around the IT guy. Like you're supposed to be in the back in a dungeon and like, oh, Zach's going out to lunch again. Like,
dude, that's funny. Our HR. So I met with HR yesterday, and one of the preferred skills that we had on there from what we were gathering from other job positions we were seeing was good communication skills. And I told her, I was like, yeah, no, don't put that on there. Like, yeah, it's preferred, but like most, like if you get your like nerdy IT guys who are really about it in the dungeons, they don't want to talk to people. If you don't know what they're talking about, then
Yeah.
just put in a request ticket. That's like the most conversation they want to have. But yeah.
So if somebody's like, hey, I'm thinking about getting into IT, what's some advice you got for them?
I say definitely start looking into like different resources on the internet because there are so many niches like in IT. I think you need to really find like where maybe not even your end goal, but like where do you want to go? So like for me, it was like networking stuff. But for you, if you want to be more involved in like programming languages and like application development, or let's say you just want to do tech repairs, like say you just want to do like a repair shop, you want to fix Nintendos and computers and stuff. There's so many different niches. Just start looking into like a little bit here and there about the different stuff. And then from there, you can start learning about like what's the path. Like you're going to see a lot of stuff like from colleges to tech colleges to online courses that are like, if you pay us money, we'll teach you. There's a lot of very good people like through YouTube. There's like Network Chuck, and there's like I can't think of the other name of this other guy, but he does like whole course like overviews, and he'll teach you like all this different stuff. So it's like there's a ton of resources. So don't fall for the trap of having to pay to get the education. If you want to learn, you can learn. Like you don't need like I just bought the CCNA, which is through Cisco. It's pretty much their course for networking and stuff, right?
Yep.
That book is like $50 for both volumes.
That's great.
And that teaches you everything you need to know for the CCNA exam. So it's like you don't need to spend, $2,000 going to UWGB for the course. So yeah, my advice is figure out what it is specifically you want to get into, or maybe even dabble in, and then figure out where you're going to get your resources, and then just go after it. Because school is not going to teach you anything more than you're not going to teach yourself.
Yeah, that's a lot of really good advice. And I don't know much about IT outside of anything that you've shown me. So
I will say one more thing. The most powerful thing I've seen people say that goes on resumes usually comes from like home projects. So you can sit somewhere in a company for like 2 years to get the skills, and you're like 2 years in help desk. That's cool. But like if you built like servers and different like just tech projects in your basement, and you can put that on a resume, it's like you didn't have to wait on anyone else to stamp it with approval, right? Like you can vet. Well, yeah, I guess there is a vetting process with that because you can put anything on there. But the point is, you're getting hands-on experience, doing your own thing. You're showing your own interest and dedication. And then I've heard of a ton of stories of people that go into these jobs where they're in an interview and they're like, yeah, I have this, that, and the other, like in my basement. And like, this is what I do in my free time. And people look at them like, dude, you're just a different breed. Like usually there's people like, yeah, I've done this for like 6 years, but I go home and I get drunk on the weekends and that's about it. And it's like, okay, so you're a run of the mill guy.
Yep.
Or you could be the guy that's like, I really like this stuff, so I'm doing a bunch of extracurricular stuff on my own time.
Yeah.
So if you're that kind of guy, you're definitely going to find a job.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's no questions asked. I know that like had I had the option of you or someone like that, probably taking you still, but
I don't know, man. 7 years experience is hard to beat, Like you got to have a lot of stuff in your basement to match up to corporate 7 years. But the point still stands. It's you can learn as fast as you want to learn or as slow. Some people are different. Yeah. And then you can work on your own projects and bring them to the table when you go to interviews.
I mean, that's honestly just a good outlook and perception overall with any career, because I know it accelerated my own career. I would be on the job learning stuff, but then afterwards, if I didn't understand something, I would YouTube it. I would go try to design, build it, dissect it. Like I had that desire and hunger, and I know that made my entire career accelerate exponentially. So like that, what you're explaining, like people doing it in their basement, I totally get it. And if you have that passion, I like that you're emphasizing and encouraging that, because in giving people an opportunity, like, hey, this is something that can actually accelerate your career instead of just being like an extracurricular activity that you're doing. Like, here's another added benefit. Like, you're passionate, plus you get to cash out. Yeah. So that's a really cool outlook on that.
Yeah. Plus, it's generally just hard to land yourself in a position like that early out the gate. Like a lot of people look for experience, and it's like, how do you get ahead of that? You know what I mean? So And yeah, it's a little expensive. So sorry if you, there's people, I know there's people that are going to say, man, I don't got the money for that. What am I supposed to do now? It's like, yep. I don't really know what to tell you. Like reach out to your friends, be like, hey, let me fix your iPad, and don't tell them that you have no clue what you're doing. Just like go fix that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might ruin that friendship, but guess what? You're going to figure out how to fix an iPad.
That's a value.
So, principles, man, principles. No, but don't break your friends' iPads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you'll figure it out. Like anything in life, you'll figure it out.
Well, I think like honestly, on your point about the expense of it, like if you are driven and motivated, there's enough computer repair shops that are gonna like throw things away that are like completely obsolete that you probably could toy around with. Like you could steal power supplies from them. Like
we got some stuff we're trying to get rid of. Let us know.
Yeah, actually 100%.
Yeah. A couple of keys don't work on some of our laptops.
But I think on that note, like you've done a really good job describing like your career path, like how people could get into your career path, like what it looks like, and the do's, don'ts, pitfalls. And I really appreciate that. Is there any other closing statements that like you have for anybody who's watching?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm really sorry to everybody who's listening to this, and I was talking about you. I apologize. I love you all, and yeah, you know me.
Yeah, we need to make sure we cut that part out, please. So
no, dude, I went through like 4 examples. I was like, yeah, this person once, and I know for a fact if they watch this, they're gonna be like, that's me. That happened literally Thursday. He's shooting on Friday. Yep, that was me. Yeah. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I know you have a kind heart, and I know you meant the best by it all. So yeah, with that, thanks for coming to the Here For You podcast, and you guys have a wonderful day.
Be easy.
Be easy.